Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Richard. I am Nigerian and I review Pakistani dramas. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing a new Pakistani drama. It just came out, and that is Barzakh. Before we get started, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you're interested in seeing more of these reviews. And of course, if you liked the video, please give it a like. Okay, so Barzakh. Firstly, I just want to say that ever since I saw the trailer for this drama like 2 weeks ago, I have been really excited to watch this one because it just seems like something so different to what we're used to seeing from Pakistani TV. And of course, Sanam Saeed and Fawad are back together, so that is always a plus. But after watching episode 1 of this drama, I will say I am very impressed. Very impressed. I like the way it's filmed. Cinematography is really good, color grading is good, and the costume design as well I really like. The scenery is unreal. I believe this was also filmed in the north, in the Hunza Valley area. So, I mean, of course, if you know the Hunza Valley, then you know that it's going to be beautiful. So I really like the fact that they filmed there because I feel like that location and just the scenery really elevates the story that this is going to be telling. Story-wise, this is just episode 1, so we don't really know what the full story is yet, but I really like the direction it's going in. It kind of reminds me of Cake, actually, the Pakistani movie Cake, which, I don't know, I guess it's quite old now, but I think it's a very similar sort of vibe I'm getting, where you have estranged siblings who are coming together to kind of look after their parents or something. And funnily enough, Sanam Saeed is also in that one, I believe. So yeah, it's giving me the vibes of Cake. And it has a very whimsical vibe as well. There's certain parts of the drama that are sort of like very indie in the vibe, kind of like the Grand Budapest Hotel or A Series of Unfortunate Events. And I really like that kind of film style and acting style as well. But what I like so far about this drama is that I think the directors are exploring with a lot of risky themes. And what I mean by that is we're seeing a sort of intimacy that we don't really see too much in Pakistani dramas. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen, I haven't really seen intimacy portrayed in the way it has been in this drama. I mean, the first shot of this drama is a very intimate scene, but also I guess you could say very mild, but very intimate. There's a lot of emphasis on breathing and like, you know, the facial features and just like the relationship between these two characters, which I think is something quite new, and I appreciate that a lot. You can also see that in this drama they've kind of explored more into the theme of sex, because aside from the intimacy we get in the first scene of the show, we also have kind of like when the kid makes a joke about sex, where he's like, who came after death? A necrophiliac. And if you're thinking in that way, then you'll get the joke immediately, but that is a sexual joke. And also the part where they were listening in the hotel rooms and then they could hear sounds coming from the rooms. Those are things that you don't really see much in Pakistani dramas. So I think it's quite interesting that the director or the writer has kind of gone that route and kind of like is portraying this on the screen. I think that's a very interesting choice. But me personally, I'm not Pakistani. Obviously, I don't have the cultural, nuances and all of that, but I think it's quite refreshing just to see that. We don't need to see anything explicit, but I think it's cool that they're sort of tiptoeing or, just like dipping their feet into those themes of intimacy and sex, which are risky themes because these are things that may not necessarily be received well in society, but I think they have a role to play in the artistry and the cinematography of this story. There is a lot of symbolism in this drama, and you can see it in the composition, the way the shots are framed, like the scene where Sanam's character is standing and behind her there's the picture of the tree, and it's such a beautiful, striking image that they're able to portray with the camera. And just the way the characters are framed in the shot when they're speaking, things like that, it's quite impressive, honestly, for Pakistani TV, because we don't really see this depth, this level of detail into the shots. So I'm really impressed with how this was filmed. The drama opens with a small narrative about this boy and his lover, who I believe he intends to marry, and He is going away for a while to kind of make something for himself, like make a life for himself. And he promises to come back to her, and he's giving her promises of the house they will have, the life they will have. And he goes off, does very well, becomes very successful. But at the end of the episode, we see that when he comes back to the village, she is no more. But that small narrative of the boy and the girl is kind of like the background information we need to actually watch the rest of this drama unfold. Because it turns out that that boy is actually the old man who maybe you could say is the main character of this. And it seems like he is struggling from dementia. But the point of this episode is that he is planning to get married for the third and final time, and he has basically invited his kids, who are estranged kids. He's invited them to come to attend his wedding celebration. This man lives in a place called the Land of Nowhere, and I think he has built a resort on this land. But the thing is, he has built this resort on top of the graves of ancestors in the region, and I think that's why the people are revolting or rebelling, protesting, because he's kind of like defiled the holy ground. And so immediately it strikes me as though this is one of those storylines where you've disrespected or shown disregard for the ancestors, and there would definitely be a sort of reckoning or revenge where the ancestors kind of punish you in return for that. But this man he doesn't care, to be honest. And who knows, maybe that has something to do with his dementia. So it's kind of like he is atoning or being punished for disrespecting the dead, disrespecting the spirits. But you can see that he doesn't really have a good relationship with his kids, especially his two sons, because they're not quite sure how to behave. They're kind of awkward. You can see it in the body gestures, not sure how to really greet one another. I think maybe Shahrazad, who I'm not sure if this is even his daughter or just a girl, but I think this is like, they're all siblings, the three of them, but she seems to be the only one who's actually close to the dad and has been taking care of him for a while. So she's more comfortable with him, whereas his two sons are just not really, you can clearly see that they don't really have a good relationship with him. The episode has a slow, steady introductory pace to it until the dinner scene. And that is where the tension that has slowly been building comes to the forefront in that scene. That is the first time in the show that we can properly see the conflict between the characters, where it becomes explosive and the dad leaves, storms out of the dinner, and it becomes even more awkward. I liked this scene because the whole episode we've been waiting for something big to happen. We already knew there was a lot of tension somewhere, but we didn't really know how exactly it would come out or where it was coming from. So it was nice to have the first glimpse into that explosion of just tension, grief, confusion, miscommunication, whatever the case may be. I like these kinds of scenes because it shows you that the drama has the potential to really explore each of the characters. So far, we haven't seen too much or heard too much from Fawad Khan's character, but you just know that we are going to get that as the show progresses. One other thing I really liked about this episode was the two young kids and their acting. I thought it was just phenomenal because you have two young children, but at the same time, they have a presence about them. They say very mature and deep things. So you don't see them just as kids. You actually see them as important characters. I mean, you can see it in the way Sharia's son talks to him. They kind of have like a very open, they just talk to each other normally, to the point that his son is able to even say those kinds of crude jokes to him, and the son is able to like have some sort of authority to ask questions. What happened? Why did she die? What are you doing about this? And also the girl he met that was taking him around from door to door just to explore this place. I think it's a very interesting choice that the showrunners have made to give these young characters so much depth, and I'm really excited to see how their characters continue to evolve. Overall, I thought this was a very good episode. It's a nice introduction to the drama, and I think this is one of those storylines that doesn't need too many episodes to tell the story. And I think if I read correctly, this is only supposed to have maybe 5 or 6 episodes. So I think that's a good amount of episodes, and hopefully they're able to really stick the landing with the story. But the one thing I will say though is I just hope that all the mystical elements of the show don't get too cheesy and distracting. Like the woman walking around with the stone on her back and all the stuff with the ancestors. I understand the importance of the symbolism, but I just hope it doesn't take away from the main story that we're watching unfold. I know this drama is going to have a lot more mysticism, so I just hope they can balance the seriousness of the main story and the otherworldliness as well. And also, I don't think I've ever watched a Pakistani drama with special effects and CGI stuff. So it's kind of cool to see that being shown in this, like when the rope was unbinding from the girl's hand, stuff like that. I hope all the special effects are done well so that we can take it seriously and it's not like, oh, what are they doing? It just looks like a cartoon, you know? So again, you know, I'm not judging the show based on just that, but because I haven't seen this in any Pakistani drama, I'm kind of curious to see how they're able to do that. But all in all, really good episode, and I can't wait for the next few episodes to come out. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to put your comments and your thoughts in the comment section so we can discuss, and I will see you in the next video.